Hello friends, thanks for joining me again today for another Facebook Live. I am coming to you from my hotel room here in Detroit, a city that I have never visited before, and I'm enjoying my time here. I have a beautiful view from the 20th floor of our hotel, looking across the Detroit River to Canada on the other side, and I've never been here before, so I didn't know what to expect, and it's been a nice surprise. But that's not what I came here to talk to you about. Today I wanted to share the message that the importance of your thoughts cannot be overrated, overestimated. And the reason for that is because everything starts with a thought and goes from there. We have a tendency to believe that what is happening in the outside world is real, and that we see things happening in the outside world and then we have a thought about it. And I'm here to tell you that that's completely backwards from what is really going on. What is really happening is you have a thought about something, and that leads to feeling a certain way, and that leads to acting a certain way, and that leads to things happening out in the world. First the thought, followed by the feeling, followed by the action. Not the other way around. Not the action that makes you feel a certain way, that makes you have a certain thought. So I hope that's clear, because when you understand this concept, when you grasp this idea, it will completely change your life. You will go from feeling like a victim of the world, feeling like you are at the mercy of all the craziness that's happening out there, to feeling like you are actually in control, that you are a victor, that you have the power to create your life, to change your life, and to change the world. So I'm wearing a t-shirt today that my sister gave me for my birthday a few years ago, and I love it, not only because it's really soft, but also because it has this beautiful quote on it, which I'll show you here, from Roald Dahl, the children's author. And he said that it's impossible to be ugly if you have lovely thoughts. And the quote here on the t-shirt says, if you have good thoughts, they will shine out of your face like sunbeams, and you will look lovely. And Roald Dahl was a person who had a very, very difficult and hard life as a child. I read his autobiography years ago, and he was sent off to boarding school where he was very lonesome because his mom thought he would get the best education there. But he suffered a lot. He was bullied. He had his tonsils removed with no anesthesia whatsoever in a doctor's office. And because he had this tragic and unhappy childhood, he decided as an adult that he was going to make life happy and enjoyable for other children. And he wrote some of the most wonderful children's books. He wrote James and the Giant Peach. He wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and many, many other stories. And this is a prime example of how someone who had a difficult time didn't let it get them down and make their life miserable going forward as an adult. He took this difficult experience that he had as a child, and he used it as fodder, as motivation to create something beautiful in the world, to make other people happy. And we have the opportunity to do this every single day, but it has to start in here and not out there, because there's a lot of emphasis in our society and from our churches, from our schools, from our parents to behave a certain way. And we try to control the behavior of our children and others and make them act a certain way. But if the behavior and the actions are the first thing and the thought is not corrected, it will all go sideways. So the thought has to be the starting point of, I want to do things a certain way, or I want to experience life a certain way, or I want others around me to experience life a certain way. And then that leads to the feeling a certain way, and then that leads to the behavior. When the behavior is the focus, that is putting the cart before the horse. When the behavior is the focus, but the thought has not been corrected, then things go haywire. This is why you see, for example, pastors preaching the importance of abstinence or monogamy, and then you find out they're having all kinds of affairs behind the scenes, because the focus was on the action. The focus was not on the thought, on the internal process of aligning one's values, one's morals, one's belief system, and then having the action proceed from there. So the thought is the starting point. The thought leads to the feeling leads to the action. And if you try to reverse that order and focus on the action, you can't backtrack from there with a feeling and a thought. It will never be successful. And that's pretty much all I have to talk about today. I appreciate you showing up, and I will see you next time. In case you don't already know, I'm Teresa McGallagher, and I love you. Bye-bye.